Preparation. My school's drama club is preparing Shakespeare's play The Merchant of Venice so that we can perform it at our school festival in August, and I have the best role, Portia. Portia is one of the most significant female characters in Shakespeare's plays. She isn't just some princess in a palace. She runs off to Venice, pretends to be a lawyer, and saves the life of her husband's friend Antonio by arguing his case at a trial. Anyway, the more I practice the play, the more closely I seem to follow her path in Venice. This year, my parents are celebrating their 20th wedding anniversary. This is why we have been planning to take a special family trip for several years. Finally, with summer vacation about to start, we discussed travel destinations. Naturally, the first thing I suggested was Venice. My younger sister and my parents were all excited about seeing the canals and gondolas, so they agreed right away. I can't believe it! We're going to see the real Venice! It will be like the theater come to life. Day 1. This morning, we flew into the airport and came to the island by water taxi. After the long flight, it was refreshing to travel across the water by boat. Our driver even let my younger sister take a turn steering the boat, and she was thrilled. At last, I stepped into Venice with a pounding heart, just like Portia. The first thing that impressed me about the city was how colorful it was. The walls were covered with bright blues, greens, oranges, and every other color. We stayed at a building that used to be a palace hundreds of years ago. It was a home turned into a bed and breakfast and was run by a very sweet old lady. The lady told us a lot about the palace and the area as well. By the time we were ready for dinner, I was extremely hungry. I'm glad I was so hungry because we went to Dalla Marisa, a traditional Italian restaurant. There are no menus at the restaurant. The guests simply eat whatever Marisa is cooking that day. Since it was Tuesday, we had fresh fish with bread and salad. There was far more than I could eat, but it was all delicious. Day 2. My mother said, "You can't say you have been to Venice unless you have ridden a gondola." So we all climbed into one of the famous boats. Our gondolier sang, "O Sole Mio," as the boat floated down a canal, and his powerful voice sounded nearly professional. After the gondola ride, we took another boat to the island of Murano, which is famous for its glass blowers. We visited a glass factory and watched an artist melt glass in a very hot oven. I couldn't believe how he was able to make the hot lump of glass into an elegant horse with just a few skillful movements of his tools. Another thing we had to see while in Venice was the mask shops. Like glass blowing, the craft of mask making has been considered an art in Venice for hundreds of years. Our trip to the mask shop did not disappoint us. There were dozens of masks in all different colors and designs. My father said, "Why don't you pick out a mask to take home? It would be a great souvenir." So my sister picked a green mask with a long nose, and I chose a mask with gold patterns around the eyes. When I put the mask on, I felt like I was the character Portia, hiding her identity, ready to save the day. Day 3. On the 3rd day, we took a tour of the city with a tour guide named Piero. We started in St. Mark's Square, the cultural center of Venice. From there, we could see St. Mark's Basilica, a huge cathedral holding hundreds of dazzling mosaics and fantastic works of art. Right next to St. Mark's Basilica is Doge's Palace, which we went inside. One of the most impressive rooms was the Four Doors Room. It was filled with paintings of Greek and Roman myths. My favorite painting was Neptune offering gifts to Venice, which shows the mythological god of the sea, Neptune, giving treasures of the sea to the city of Venice. Then our tour guide took us to the compass room. When he explained that this was where trials were held long ago, I could imagine myself as Portia, entering the compass room to defend the Merchant of Venice.
A pound of that merchant's flesh is yours.
Most rightful judge.
Wait a minute. There is something else. This contract gives you not a drop of blood. It only gives a pound of flesh. If you spill 1 drop of blood, then by the laws of Venice, you will lose everything you have.
Is that the law?
When we walked out of the compass room and across the Bridge of Sighs, we could see the charming canal that flows under the bridge leading to the prison. On our way back to the bed and breakfast, our tour guide told us, Venice was built on wet and muddy land by people who were trying to escape from armies from the north and east. When I heard that, I was quite surprised. Who would have thought that this city, born from tears and suffering, would turn into a place of such great beauty? Day 4. I'm riding on the airplane on my way home. As I look down at Venice from the sky and see the canals, I realize that this city is one of a kind. Now I have seen the actual city. I'm even more excited about acting in Shakespeare's play. Our trip to Venice was short, and it's already time to say goodbye. However, I will treasure these memories forever.